A lot of people thought I was shy as a kid, but I was just afraid of being disciplined for expressing emotions that were too big for adults or other people around me to support. Kids are silenced because they don't feel emotionally safe. And I was also bullied into silence by the kids at my school because I had a language barrier, because I was a foreigner that came to America. So I was still learning how English worked. And unfortunately, when I did open my mouth to try to make a sentence, it did not come out the way I wanted it to, which would cause laughter and jokes. And it didn't make me feel good. A lot of times I ended up going home in tears. But even at home, my parents didn't have the tools to support me through my big feelings. But it was also because when they were little, their parents did not support them through having big feelings. So when my big feelings felt overwhelming for my parents, I was disciplined, or I was silenced, or I was sent away. So I taught myself to not express it and suppress it. But I was heavily clowned by kids, and not having that emotional safety anywhere to land these feelings made me a quiet person. And that wasn't just when I was a kid. This followed me into teenagehood. And as my body was changing, as my hormones were fluctuating, I didn't have a safe space to go and relieve myself or express or release all of the frustrations that came with being a teenager. I'm sure some of you all that are watching were obviously teenagers once upon a time, and y'all know how it goes when your body changes. You don't know what the heck is going on. Unfortunately, I was also a teenager that went through that experience by myself because I was the oldest daughter. So my body changed first before any of my siblings knew what puberty was. And it was a really lonely experience. It was a very sad experience that caused me a lot of trauma. But that kept going throughout being a teenager. And once I became a young adult in my early 20s, that's when I started realizing a lot of things that were happening around me weren't right. There was like the sense of justice that I had in me that made me start vocalizing myself. And I'm a Gemini, which means I had another side to me. That's the tally side of me that started verbalizing disagreeing thoughts, that started expressing things that I used to suppress. It all started coming out. And let's just say my parents were not pleased by it. And this also transferred into my dating life. But I'll let the Tally side of me explain when she first made her debut or appearance in my life. And that's when I knew that I was a true Gemini. I said, oh, this is what duality looks like. This is what it feels like to speak up. And it felt so good. I felt so empowered. And once it started, it didn't stop. So I went from being a shy, quiet, reserved, very easily scared little girl to a very vocal, very protective over myself young woman. And it's really amazing to be able to reflect, to see the journey of me becoming myself, me finding my voice, me developing um, boundaries. Because I had to learn this on my own. My parents didn't teach me. Mental health back then wasn't a popular topic. So I was left to experience it with trial and error, trial and error. So stay tuned for when I discovered how much of a Gemini I really was through the POV of Tally. Tilly is more the reserved, lover girl, shy observer. Tally is a completely different version of me, and both have this symbiotic, dual natured energy that all exist wrapped up into one person. So, thank you for listening to me yap, and look out for the next video. Love you guys.